Professor and my colleagues. Thank you very much for inviting us. My colleagues just talked about the IT side of this internet issue, and perhaps I could offer a perspective looking at this world from a little different perspective. I was asked to talk about the next 3 to 5 years. So if you think about where we've been, the internet has transformed from a voice to a data world. We at Verizon believe that if you look out into 2015, conservatively, almost 90% of the traffic that will go on the internet will be video. And our view then is that we build a business to create the capacity to scale it, to create the reliability, the access, the connectivity, and of course, as you heard, the security to make sure that we can handle the kind of customer demand that will come from that kind of traffic on the internet. So as we build a business model against that vision of where we are out in 3 or 4 years, we come to a couple of conclusions. The first is that we think the landline business continues to transform to a point where we're delivering 100 megabits of capacity to every workstation, to every building, to every home, and we accordingly deploy capital to make sure we build fiber optics everywhere we can, redundant systems, and we build actually Fios into people's homes. We call it fiber optic systems into people's homes. It's a big initiative in our company. We started it in 2004. We cover about 20 million homes in the US. We now have the service deployed to close to 18 million homes. We're penetrated about 30%. We have about 4 million customers at this point, and there's huge demand for continued application of these services. In the wireless world, we of course, we're at 2G services, 3G, and now we've just started to deploy 4G. We rolled out 4G services to about a third of the US population. We'll hit a second third by the end of this year, and we'll be fully deployed sometime by the end of 2012. Now what's really amazing about 4G is it's a global standard. So we can expect not just the systems that we're putting in, but systems in every country to begin to manage toward a common platform. All devices, operating systems will eventually be in a common platform, and therefore the world that Leo just talked about will come to bear because we'll have the scale that will allow people to deploy services globally in a way that's very efficient. But this also means now, if you take this down one step lower, it means that what we see is wireless device penetration will go from maybe 90 or 95%, 120% to 400 or 500%. Our view is that everybody will have multiple wireless connections on their person. I'm sure even today, a good percentage of this audience has more than one device with them. That wouldn't have been the case 5 or 6 years ago. So you'll have your smartphone, you'll have your weekend phone, you'll have a business phone perhaps, but you'll also have what we call machine to machine. There'll be chips and sensors placed in every kind of device, health devices, tracking devices, and some of those could be as little as $1 a month, $5 a month, but they'll be connected to the network and they'll be synced in alignment around the world. And you'll find that, as Yossi said, we're talking about, in our view, by the middle of the decade, upwards of 50 billion devices connected to the internet. Now, for a company like us, our first priority is to build the networks, scale it efficiently, and make sure that our customers can connect anywhere they are to any device and transmit any information they have. I think the challenges that we face are things you already know. We have to do it efficiently. We have to deploy a lot of capital and make sure we price it right so we can get a good return for our shareholders at the same time that we give our customers a good value. There's open systems, there's reliability, there's security. I'm pleased to see, 20 years ago, the world always thought that the last mile was the problem. I think with wireless, we have kind of addressed the last mile and are doing that very aggressively now. And I'm pleased to see the entire IT community focused on transitioning all the legacy IT systems that exist in the planet to a cloud structure. which I think creates enormous economies of scale for everyone in terms of simplicity and security and reliability going forward. So Yossi, our view of the world is pretty robust, it's pretty positive. The internet's going to be a very dynamic place. One thing you will find, I think if there's one other caution I would offer, is that we see an awful lot of turmoil and threats on the internet. Not just, of course, the normal issues of hacking and reliability, but there's all sorts of other safety issues in terms of cyberbullying and things of that nature. And what you'll find is countries, companies are moving more to a dual structure in which you have the private and the public internet. And my caution on this point is that if we don't do the things that Leo and Renee have said and really develop the broad policies, industry will move to a private structure as opposed to the public structure. So if we do not address the standards required for safety, reliability, and security, what you'll find is the internet will be left behind, which is not a good place for us to think about the world going to. Thank you very much, and I look forward to your questions.